Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Alison, the online piano and the online violin tutor. So I wanted to talk to you today about how and where you should be practicing. Something that sort of seems quite rudimentary, but something that's just sort of so simple that could just make that much of a difference. So whether you stand to practice or sit to practice, I always feel is kind of your personal preference. Depending on what I'm doing will depend on whether I stand or sit really. I remember when I was younger and I was learning and I was doing more of the the bulk of my learning, where I was playing a lot more of the complicated or learning more of the complicated repertoire. I do remember that I used to sit for some of it, but when I was getting with the more serious stuff, I used to stand. When one is performing, you're always standing, with the exception of something like a string quartet, or if you're a background musician at a wedding or event or something like that, sitting or standing is a little bit different. But I would say probably the optimal position to practice would actually be standing up. So I just want to show you what that kind of setup would sort of more or less look like. So if I was sitting down to practice and I'm sitting on this chair here, I'd want to make sure that I just have plenty of room around me so that I can kind of put my hands out to the side and not kind of hit everything. I know I've got a wall there, but the wall isn't really anywhere where I'm going to be, and I've got nothing here except to the back of me. So that's how I want to be. First of all, I just want to have loads of room around me so I know that I'm not going to hit anything or feel like something is in my zone and something's going to hit me. The other thing I'd want to do is just make sure I'm sitting on the end of the chair. So whatever you do, you don't want to be sitting back in a chair. So I don't think it really matters what type of chair that you necessarily sit on, as long as it's something that you can kind of perch on the end for. So you don't want to be sort of sitting right back in the chair, because you're going to be too relaxed for that. So bum shouldn't be back at the chair, but your bum should be perched right on the end of the chair. I know you can't see me, but to the point where my actual buttocks are actually on the end of the chair, and then my legs are kind of just supporting me from kind of moving forward and slipping off that chair. So that's kind of how you want to be, because you want to be able to kind of move forward and do all these kind of things. So you should just sort of be just perched on the end of the chair. So you've got enough movement, you can move forward and backwards, and your legs are just basically supporting your weight. If your legs weren't there, you'd be slipping off the end of the chair. So once we've done that, what we want to do then is have the violin where we have the violin. Now what I would do is have the music stand right in front of me here. So perhaps, if just for the purpose of this video, if I put the music stand in front so that you can just about see, I don't want to obscure too much of the view. So you can see the music stand is right in front of me and I'm facing the music stand. Now that's kind of making me really nervous because I don't like that. Where did I put my bow? So it's just in the wrong position for you because it's right in front of me, but obviously I've put it there for the purpose of this video. So what I would actually want to do is position myself round to the side. So music stand is at 12 o'clock. So at the moment, the audience, the camera is sitting at 12 o'clock. The music stand is at 12 o'clock right underneath that. Now my body does not want to be at 12 o'clock here, because my violin is going to be out to the side here at sort of between 10 and 11, as we know, and we're going to be playing there. Now, what can you see as being the immediate problem here? So here I am merrily playing away. The biggest problem here is that my head is there. It's facing 10 o'clock. My eyesight is looking at between 10 and 11, where basically my hand is on the violin. However, my music is at 12 o'clock. So number one, we're going to be doing this. We don't want to be doing any of that. I can't see anything, and unfortunately I don't have an eye that goes all the way around to the side of my head that I can look at my hand and look at the music at the same time. So the answer to that is you swivel yourself around so that your body is at the opposite. So if your violin is out at, say, between 10 and 11, your body wants to be between 1 and 2, something like that. So you're facing 1 and 2. That means now your violin is out at about 12, or just sort of under 12, maybe sort of 11, because you don't want to be right on the music. The violin doesn't want to be, you can see the violin is right there. So now I can see the music, but I can only see the first few lines of music, because my big fat hand and violin is obscuring it all. So I'm just going to move slightly round to that, so that basically my sheet music is, if I can just hold that, my sheet music is now here. So my sheet music view is between this hand here and this hand here. So all of this space in here, and that's where I want the music to be. But of course my body has to be there, because the violin has to be out to the side here. So if I imagine my new 12 o'clock being here, the music stand is about, I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock. So I'm at 12 o'clock here. Violin, music stand at 10, 11 o'clock. Violin out to the side, boom, perfect, and I can see. So that's where you want to be. You don't ever really want to be sort of straight on. You could sort of be a little bit more further around, whatever's sort of easier for you. But you know, as long as your hand isn't obscuring it, your hand is sort of just slightly out of the way. But basically your music stand needs to be between this hand here and this hand here. So your view wants to be in these two bits. So my head is the middle. There we are. So now all I'm doing is just, you know, my head is not moving. Don't want to be doing that on the violin, but my eyes can just look from there to there to there to there without my head moving. And then the same sort of thing, if you're standing up and you're practicing, you would just do the same thing. You would just stand up and you would practice that way. I don't really have the room to record myself standing up, but I'm sure you can all imagine what it's like standing up. But it's exactly the same thing. The stand, wherever the stand is, your body wants to be facing about 2 o'clock or so. Hold the violin as you normally would and sort of adjust from there. So your body never wants to be straight onto the music stand, because your violin's going to be out there, body turns around to play, we've got a major problem going on here. So if you twist that around so the music stand is between your hands, between these two hands here, then you know that your body is going to be slightly out to the right hand side of that music stand. So all you're going to be doing standing up is just doing that exact same thing, but obviously instead of sitting you'll just be standing up. So that's kind of just probably just a little something that I think nobody ever talks about. I can certainly say that I've never made a video of this on my channel. In all the years that I've been making this, of all the years I've had this channel, I've been making videos on this channel, I've actually never addressed this. Don't really quite know why, but I just suddenly thought about it the other day and thought it might be worth mentioning. So it's very integral to how you're playing, because if you're not standing right, then you're going to have a load of problems before you even, you know, you're just making things 10 times harder for yourself. Why work hard? Work smart, not work hard. So you're just making things 10 times harder for yourself by just not being in the right position. So again, whether you sit or whether you stand is entirely up to you. Depending on what you're doing, you're obviously going to feel a lot freer when you're standing, but then you might not be able to stand for vast periods of time when you're practicing, and you know, you can kind of, your back can start to ache and you can just sort of start to get a bit, I don't know. I do prefer to sit when I'm playing, I will admit. And then when I get to the point where I'm at kind of performance stage, then I will stand, because I know that's how I'm going to be standing. But again, I mean, it really depends what you're doing, but I don't think you're really going to lose too much for, you know, the kind of things that you guys are going to be playing. I'm not talking about professional musicians here. I'm talking about you guys kind of watching this video and learning from home. I think sitting is fine, but you really do have to be right on the end of that chair. You can see how far away my back is from the back of the chair. You really do have to have your legs down in kind of like that sort of cycle position. So really, if my legs gave way, I'd be on the floor. But it's the only way that you're going to be able to kind of bend around and have that freedom and that flexibility, you know, that you've got there. So for something just so simple, I think it just makes a huge amount of difference. And I've seen people play with all sorts of things. Of course, the other thing as well is that you just need to make sure that the stand is pretty much at head height, and you can't see this here, but I like to have the stand just a fraction lower than my head height. I don't want to be particularly looking directly on it, so I don't really want the music up at this level because I just feel like it's too high. You certainly don't want the stand up here so you're looking high. I just want the music to be just slightly just I don't know, maybe at a less than a 45-degree angle just ever so slightly looking down. So again, whether you're standing up or sitting down, you just want the stand to be slightly, you don't want the stand kind of up here level with you, because when you're looking at the top line of music, it's going to be too high. When you're looking at the bottom, it's still going to be too high. So you just want the whole thing to be sort of just slightly below eye level. So maybe, I don't know, maybe more in a par with kind of chin, neck level. So that's how high I would have it. That's where I would have the music stand as well. And also, obviously, get yourself a music stand. You shouldn't really kind of be playing without a music stand. This is nothing clever. This is just a music stand that I've had since the dawn of time, really. So get yourself a proper music stand. They're really not expensive at all. $10, if that. I don't know, maybe you could get them a bit cheaper. Someone's got a second-hand one, whatever. Get yourself a music stand. Don't just be bunging your music anywhere on the floor or propped up somewhere. That's really not good enough. If you're learning properly and you want to do a proper job, just get yourself a music stand. Problem solved. And don't forget as well, I did mention at the start of the video that I do have a 1 to 30 violin course as well. For those of you that don't know, what I will do is put a link to the video coming up in a card, which I forget which corner it is now. Whichever corner it is coming up now, there'll be a link to the video which is all about my 1 to 30 violin course. It's a really, really good violin course. It teaches you from absolute scratch. There's nothing else like it on the internet. I know I keep going on about this, but there really isn't anything like it on the internet. And it 100% guarantees to teach you and take you from a complete and utter beginner to a really decent, accomplished intermediate level. I absolutely stand by that guarantee. And I can assure you that it works. And as I say, there's nothing else like it on the internet. So if you're watching this video and you're just trying to start out and you're really not sure where to start, you haven't got a teacher, you don't want to spend a lot of money, then check out my course. I will put a link to it underneath this video because I can't link it obviously in this video. Everything will be linked underneath the video, and I will link another video which will show you what you're going to learn, what you're going to be going through, what you're going to go from, and all that kind of good stuff. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.